Okay, hi and welcome. My name's Tom, and we'll leave it at that. I don't really want to give out my full information here, just for now anyways. What you're looking at is a machine that I've kind of built to this point, and I'm going to explain it to you. But a little bit of why I did this. Well, I'm really just trying to make the world a better place. Than it was when I entered it. So realizing the human race needs energy to move forward properly, and the cleaner the energy, the better, right? So we got to find a way to tap into energy, and I pondered on this for quite a while. And really, gravity energy is all around us. We all know it. We're being held to the Earth's surface with it. And so if we could tap into that energy, it would be an endless supply, and it's everywhere in the world. So no need to distribute it, just deploy it and use it, is my thoughts. So where do I come from? My background is multidisciplinary, technical one. I'm an electronic engineering tech. I'm also a tool and die guy. I have experience in most other disciplines, especially in automotive. And that kind of thing. I am an entrepreneur, so I've been self-employed for 30 years or so, making electronic goods. Now with COVID hitting, of course, it's been a rather slow situation. So I've had a bit of time to carry on with this project, because this project's been going on for about, I'd say, 5 or 6 years now. And I kind of fell into it based on my background and you'll see as I go through it what I've done and how I got to where I'm at with it. I want this project to be open source, okay? I'm not looking to get rich on it. And when I say open source, I mean we'll improve it. I'm pretty sure you're going to be very surprised by it as we go through it and see that it's really a simple concept that does not break any thermodynamic rules. Okay, I'll say that right up front. It's just using actually a few rules of science that we all know. And it's actually just extracting energy from the gravity field, okay? That's what it's doing. And you'll see how in a few minutes when I get closer to the machine and pan around it and stuff. Okay, so really being open source, I don't mind if you want to manufacture this, that'd be great. Once we know that we've proven the concept and it works, because we do have to still do that. And, I'm pretty sure you're going to see it's pretty easy to understand once it's explained to you. So open source community, if we do find ways to improve it, which I think we will, that should all be open source. This machine is for the human race. It's not for some fat cat, rich billionaire to buy and hide or buy and be the only one or things like that. I'm leery of it going into a hidden domain. I want this. I built it for my grandchildren and the future for them and, of course, everyone. Okay, so I'm just going to grab, the camera's on a tripod right now, and I'm just going to grab the tripod, so it might get a little shaky, but I'll pan around the machine because you're only seeing the end of it, and I have to actually grab that, and also I'm on a wireless microphone, so we're in the back of my factory, which is kind of a storage area and where we bring stuff in. So this is the machine. You can see there's a flywheel down the end there that's made of wood. I would much rather have made that with aluminum, but, money. And an aluminum flywheel would have costed about $5 to somewhere around there grand. That's made of, they call it Baltic birch. I had it CNC cut. You can see there's a large number of plies to it. So it's fairly stable, but it's still not, if it was aluminum, it would be balanced well. What you're looking at here is a section, the side view of it. There's 4, I'll call them crosses. Okay, and even one development that I did, I offset the coils that are going into the square plastic pieces on the axle. They're off-center from the actual axle so that when the magnets fall through, they will fall through and hopefully create a little bit of spin action. Now, that has to be proven, of course. What you have here is basically four. You could increase, I'll just back up here. You could increase the machine size by adding a longer axle. You probably have to put a support in the middle. The bearings are just simple bearings I picked up at a local automotive outlet. They're supposed to be wet bearings, but I haven't, they should be in an oil bath, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this is not a high-speed machine. So I'm just going to see where I can put things here. I'm going to put the camera down, put it back on its thing, and I'll put my wireless microphone thing on the floor, and hopefully that view will get you. I'm trying to stay out of the picture because I don't want anybody to recognize me. So I'm going to put my hand on the flywheel and I'm just going to spin it. Okay, and you can see, you'll notice that there's magnets, okay, in here. This is just a rubber piece. I could take one out, but they're strong magnets. I'll put the camera down on. There's a magnet. See that silver? This right here? That's a magnet. They're basically neodymium magnets, which are really, really strong. You actually have to be careful with them because they're very powerful. Okay? Recently discovered, like not that long ago, like 15 years or so, kind of discovered by accident, and it wiped out some computer systems or something, so I'm told. Anyways, the magnets go, and they get reset in the gravity field, and they fall down through the coil, okay? And the coils, you can hear the magnets falling. And so they're extracting, every time one of those magnets falls through one of those coils, and they actually fall, and then they also go back and reset as they spin around, right? So one coil creates 2 pulses per revolution. I hope that makes sense to you. Anyways, so we've got a whole pile of pulses being created here with 1 revolution, okay? Now, one of the pulses, I've taken an oscilloscope, one of the pulses creates about 18 volts. Okay, it's 11 windings on the coil, is made of 11 windings of number 18 gauge transformer wire. I'm going to give all the information out for basically how I built this, okay? So that's really the core of the thing. I mean, it's just plastic tubing that I picked up. You can buy it online. Almost everything for this machine, well, you can buy everything online, but you can actually get some stuff, like the flywheel is custom. It'd be really the only thing that's super custom. I mean, the frame I welded up, so I mean, anybody could make a frame if you know how to weld. The axle is aluminum. It can probably be made of steel. Okay, so I just did aluminum because I wasn't sure what was going to happen with the magnets, if they were too strong and they might get stuck, or get attracted, especially when the first crosses I made were not offset and so they were falling pretty close to the axle. Now they're a little more offset, so it's not quite as attractive. Anyways, I'm going to also pull something out of the end, and hopefully I'm not in the picture, and I'll put the camera just a little bit that way. You're only going to see my hand, hopefully. On the end of that silver pipe, the aluminum pipe, you'll see a little thing sticking out, and that's how you get the energy out of the coils, okay? Because you're going to be creating a lot of pulses. And I'm just going to grab that and bring it up to the camera, staying out of the camera view. This is it, okay? It's actually the same size. I had the aluminum pipe bored out so that this would fit in nice, and I haven't glued it in, but it would probably be glued in once you finally make the machine permanent. Now what this is, I'm going to see if I can get in front of the camera here with my hands. Hopefully that works. This is actually a spinning device. Okay, so you have 2 wires that can come in this side, See if I can hold that right. I don't know. There you go. I think you can see it there. They're basically called little terminals. You slide onto those those slots, and then the other side has the same thing. Now, what this has is It has this particular one is older because I started this about 5 years ago. This one is actually, I'm trying to think of the technical name, but it's got mercury in it. And so when it spins, each one of these, like one side is, and I put wire on there and a wire on there. They're isolated, but yet it spins and conducts, okay? And it does it by going through mercury. Now, you can get these now with slip rings or trying to think, like many multiple fingers that will do the same thing, okay? Because in Canada, I'm in Canada, I'll let you know that much. You can't buy mercury things like this anymore because mercury is, taboo for the green freaks, which is fine, so we do that. I happen to be using this one. They weren't overly expensive. I think this was about $35 in the day when I bought it, but the other ones are about the same, I think, so maybe a little more. And they could be much more now because I haven't bought one for a long time. And let's face it, inflation has been hitting everything. So I'm just going to stick this back in the machine. And what you would do is all these coils, you'd have what's called a rectifier, a DC, like diode rectifiers, so that you create more or less DC pulse. Okay, and the wires, you drill a hole in here and run the wires through the shaft, the middle of the shaft, and then out through this so that you can extract all the energy from the coils and then combine them together. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now, really, just want to get my paper here because I've got a bunch of things I want to explain. Okay, so we're calling it the gravity extraction generator, or GXG. That's what we're calling this thing. So the neodymium magnets are really strong, and the machine really just relies on a continuous motion, okay, that's created once you're up to speed. There is a tickle motor, which you can see a little bit of bracketry over there, which I think I played around with some motors and stuff that didn't work. And then I had issues with the motor itself, and so my next thought is to drive this thing on the flywheel side, but on the outside, on the other side. And really, it's almost, in my mind, because I'm a very simple person, and I try and get things that are readily available, the flywheel will probably have a 10-speed bicycle rim, with the gears that go tick, 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 tick when it's not, being driven by the pedals. So I'm just going to take a wheel off of a bicycle and I'm going to put some extended bolts on. I'll move around to that side so you can see. So I'll put it on, I'll mount it on the face right there. Okay, and I'll drill some holes and bring it out a little bit, and then we'll drive it with a motor and a chain, probably down off of this. I don't know if I can tilt down enough. There's a frame down here that I welded up, so the motor will be down there, and we'll drive it on a chain. And let's see if I can get my finger there into the middle of this. And what we have is a tickle motor, a DC tickle motor. Okay, I call it a tickle motor. I don't know, maybe somebody wants to come up with a better name, that's fine. And it will be mounted down there, and it will periodically, once this thing's up to speed, it will just tickle the thing and keep it going, because a flywheel wants to stay in motion, right? So when you spin a flywheel, this thing's going to be running. You spin a flywheel, it wants to keep staying in motion, you see. It's going to be going a little faster than that, too. So, your tickle motor, the energy that you're going to put into this thing and then the energy you're going to extract out of it really comes from the gravity field. So you just have to keep this thing up to a certain speed. Now you're going to be limited by centrifugal force because you can't spin this thing too fast or the magnets won't drop. Okay, but there should be what I would call a net positive result simply because of the flywheel. And of course, using gravity as your energy source to drop the magnets through. So all you're doing is resetting magnets in the gravity field. And the energy required to do that should be less than the amount of energy you can get out, especially if you want to start adding more coils and making it longer. There's so many other things that I want to try out on this machine. I've actually already tried magnetic bearings, and I was successful with one cross. I can support one cross with magnetic bearings, but that's not enough, right? We need to support, like, each cross is about 28 pounds, believe it or not. I believe it was around 28 pounds. And so I managed to support on magnetic bearings, and it was spinning really nicely, but not stably, because, you know, I would have to stabilize it a little better, but it was more of an experiment than anything. So, you know, that's just the way it is. Anyways, that's the machine. Larger coils and magnets, of course, more crosses, and maybe even a curved path. I did think about this because I saw some machine from India back in their, they have these books that they have that you can read about stuff, you know, old technology from the past over in India, and they have these wheels over there that have curved paths. And I thought, wow, maybe I could use that on this machine, you know, instead of, I'm just offset the magnets from the center, maybe have them curved as well, so that when the magnets drop, they actually, you know, the force of the magnet dropping around would create even more spin. So there may be ways to improve this machine. And I'm sure when people see this machine, there's many other ways that, you know, I'm not even thinking of. So that's the machine. I've made the video. I'm not really a good videographer, and I'm, you know, just trying to get this out. This is being made for one specific man, person, whatever. You know who you are. You're the first one that's going to see it, because you perhaps have a way of being able to get this. It needs to be finished, of course. My situation is, because of COVID the last few years, we've had very difficult times keeping this factory going. So it's actually up for sale right now, so I'll probably have to move this machine somewhere else. We do own the building, so that will help us financially, but we have other projects we're doing, not related to this machine, just other things. So we are going to carry on in business, but this, you know, if I don't get any help, this will be another 10 years before I finally finish it off. So that's the concept and idea. I'm like dead nut certain it's going to be a payoff, that, you know, the amount of energy that you tickle it with the DC motor is going to be overcome by, you know, more crosses, and you might only need one cross to, you know, you're going to, obviously it's DC voltage, you're going to charge into batteries, and maybe have a separate battery for the tickle motor, and maybe the other three are the, you know, your extra energy. So that's where we're heading with this thing. Although you wouldn't need two batteries, it's just, you know, you're trying to do that to show people, right? That it actually, you know, extracts more energy out of the gravity field by utilizing gravity as your energy source. So you're not breaking thermodynamic rules or anything. So it's a really simple concept. It's a clean machine. I guess the only thing that might be kind of, you know, I won't say dirty because I don't know, but, you know, neodymium magnets have to be molten. You know, it's certain types of elements from the periodic table that get melted together and put through a gravity field and then cooled. That's what I'm told anyways, or what I read somewhere. So that's about the only thing. And then obviously you got to manufacture copper wire, and it's got insulation on it and stuff like that. So that's essentially it. I'm going to probably make another video building the pieces if you need it. I mean, somebody's going to want to build this thing, I think, I hope anyways. And I'm not sure where we're heading with it, if we're going to just create a forum. If, you know, if the fella that sees this is not interested, then I'm probably just going to create a forum and somehow get people interested in this thing and get it up and into the public eye. I do know a bunch of other YouTubers that I watch, and I'm probably, my next step is to contact them and get this video up onto the internet and get it exposed. And then, you know, hopefully somebody out there, you know, will set up a forum or something somehow. I'm just trying to stay incognito because I don't need the men in black showing up. All right, thank you.